So I had no clue whatsoever how to get my music career started in London. I know all about if you play hardcore, this is what you have to do. Just Google the shittiest part of town. You go there, you find some punks and ask them which venue to go to. And you go to the show, you make friends, and next thing you know, you're in a band. Easy. But with this kind of more mainstream type of music that I just started playing, especially with my mashed potato genre that sits somewhere vaguely between multiple styles of music, I didn't even know if scene existed for me. So this is where open mic played a huge role. Now, open mic to me was like this unicorn concept where I've heard of it, but I didn't really know it existed. But sure enough, of course, this is the biggest city in the world, so I started going to open mic. Sometimes, 5 nights a week, after night, like everywhere in London. Sometimes I would take a 2-hour bus to get to this pub to play 2 songs in this corner where not many people paying attention to. Yeah, it was the wisest thing because I didn't have any expectations or assumption. I just took whatever I was able to get. And this is how I built the foundation. Now, once you get used to it, you start seeing this pattern. How it usually goes is somebody get up on stage and they go, "Hello, my name is so-and-so. I play this style of music and I wrote this song about this and that, and I hope you enjoy." Nothing wrong with it, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted something more punchy, memorable, and clean. So what I came up with after enough times, and I still do this to this day. What I do, I get up on stage and I simply say, "Hello, my name is Tsubasa Lucid and I play heartbreak music." And I turn my back on the audience and I blast this short intro song. It's like a less than a minute instrumental song that's fast. And then I storm into the first song, whatever I was planning to do. And this works really well. It is theatrical, entertaining, and it has this momentum and it flows organically. So this short song I wrote, it didn't have a name. I played like 1,000 times. But when I was making this album, it felt vital to include this song. So it has a title now. It's called Heartless. And this episode is all about open mic. Because Heartless was born literally in the process of searching and adjusting and recalibrating my music in the live setting. It is purely a product of open mic. So before I get into the most important, crucial story that I must talk about regarding open mic, I'll give you a trivia, Tsubasa Lucid fun fact, if you will. The drum beat in Heartless is what I call Bruno beat. Now, I named this like 2 nights ago, but I call this Bruno beat, and it comes from Bruno, from London's most evil black metal punk band, Final Dose. And here's a fun fact, is that the singer of Final Dose briefly played drums for Tsubasa Lucid. And I know it's like, how the fuck did that happen? I'll tell you how. If you look up Bruno, you find all these videos of him swinging axe on stage in a serial killer mask. But he's like one of those sweetest and funniest, I have to add, people you ever meet in your life. And how I met Bruno is another crazy story, so I'll tell you right now. But I came to London on November 13th because there was a show I wanted to attend. I wanted to see my favorite band before I die. It's Slapshot. They're from Boston, but they're planning a show at New Cross Inn. And when I got to this place, I instantly befriended with this Italian guy. Again, another Italian guy. Italian guys to me are like cupids or like a lucky charm to me. They always bring good news. So I love all my Italian friends. Shout out to Italians. So we became friends, right? And he was so kind, and he introduced me to all the local punks. And at this show, Jawless was opening for Slapshot. So at this show I connected with Teresa. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, but so I went to see Jawless the second time at the Dev in Camden, right? And at this show I saw this black metal flyer, and I kept it. And I went to that show again. And this is the place where I first time saw Final Dose. I didn't know who they were. And I instantly loved these guys. If you know me, you know damn well how selective and picky that my taste in music is, and who I like, who I don't like. Especially when I see a band on stage, if they don't have the right presentation, I'm instantly turned off. But this band had everything, in my correct opinion. So Final Dose instantly became my favorite band from London. But I didn't talk to Bruno. I just watched them and okay, cool, and I went home, right? And I went to see them the second time. And this time, he was standing at a door. He organized this show. But somehow we started talking, and I discovered, I think since I posted videos of them from the first show, he recognized me. And at some point, he told me he loves my music. And I was like, my music, Tsubasa Lucid? And turns out he's a big country and also Elvis fan. And I was like, the guy from Final Dose likes my music? Yeah, it was so beautiful. You know, because like Final Dose to me was like this one of these, biggest bands. They're playing with Section Hate, my another favorite band from LA. But yeah, it was like mind blowing. And he suggested we're gonna jam, and I was like, oh, sure. And he's a drummer, and he's a very multi-talented artist, and he doesn't just sing. I mean, it's more like yelling and screaming, but like he doesn't just do the vocal. He can play guitar, he can play drums. This brief period of time, we were practicing, rehearsing, and unfortunately it didn't happen. We're still friends, and during the rehearsal, like I said, he's a very funny guy, and he, joke around all the time. But like when he suggests a new, drum idea, hey, how about this? How about this? And every time for every song, and it became like an inside joke, right? And I still remembered. But so that drum beat is the drum beat in Heartless. So I guess now I have to dedicate this song to him. The guys in Final Dose, not only Bruno, but like just because we became friends, he took me to their show and like let me in. And there was one time I did the merch guy, but I was completely useless, and I feel bad because like I still didn't understand British coins and cash, and I also didn't know how to use the card reader, so I was completely useless. But like these guys were, everybody in the band and their partners, they're so welcoming. And I mean, not only Final Dose, but like everybody in the punk scene in general, but London punks, the nicest people on the planet. Like, whether it's Jawless, Phantasmas, they were so nice to me and instantly treated me like a friend. And I'll never forget that. I'm so grateful. And also, if I may add, London crowds are super nice. Of course, you can tell when people don't like your music, but still, they are very polite and nice. And I mean, Londoners in general, people talk about how cold and rude Londoners are. It's like everybody's shockingly nice and respectful. So, I mean, if you feel this way, maybe it's you who's the problem. I don't know what to tell you. Now, the open mic. The first time I went to Camden, I remember I went to pay respect to Amy. There's a statue of her at the Camden Market. And once you're in this side of town, you notice so many imageries of Amy all over the town. Whether it's a graffiti, photography, or sticker, what have you. And it was so beautiful to know how relevant she is still to this day. They call her the Queen of Camden. stunning. Anyway, but at the same time, I was disappointed how gentrified, touristy, and generic this town was. I guess my idea of what Camden should be hasn't been updated since 1982 or something. I didn't even see any punks or skinheads. But that day, I came up with the idea because I had some time. So why not? We're gonna find a open mic. And I looked up online and there was one open mic that looked active in this area. And sure enough, it's like 5 minutes away from me. So it was like 6 p.m. So I decided to head there. And I got to this place. It was like a pub. And I entered and I immediately noticed the big picture of Amy with signature on it, among other bunch of famous bands. And I was like, okay, maybe this is like a local, historical venue. Little did I know, this was the Dublin Castle. And I was stepping into this world. Later I'm going to discover, but this was my officially first open mic that I witnessed. However, I didn't have a guitar. I was like dipping my toe into the scene, so to speak. Not gonna lie, I could have asked people to let me use their guitar and just get up on stage and play, but I was, still a little bit intimidated. I'm in the music capital of the world, and I was like, what the hell kind of top musicians are gonna be playing in this place? But one thing I noticed after this open mic and my official first performance as well is that open mic is a fair game. What I mean is a professional musician who want to still get up on stage and play for whatever reason, or somebody who just grabbed the guitar and started writing songs like last year and you just finished a song like 2 months ago and you want to try it out. The chance is given to everybody equally. And this was such a beautiful concept for me. And again, I went to LA too and I looked for open mic event later on, but I couldn't find any that is free. And I couldn't even find many in general. And I met this actress in LA, right? And she was telling me that people don't come to LA to play music. People come to LA to do business. So if you are an artist who want to make art, if you're a musician who want to play music, you don't go to LA. You go to either Nashville or London. And I didn't understand back then, but like now that makes so much sense. And I'm so grateful for that. So I go home from Dublin Castle. I was like, man, I have to get a guitar ASAP because if I'm not doing this, what the hell am I doing in London? So I got this cheapest guitar from this random guy on Gumtree and I go back. Now, before I performed at Dublin Castle, I decided to sign up for something else. And it was at, if you remember, UK Open Mic was doing 2 bridges and they're giving 45 minutes. And, I was at this point like used to playing like an hour, 30 minutes at least. So when I witnessed the first open mic, I was like, this is like way too short, like 2 songs, 3 songs, like 10 minutes. So I wanted 45. And that was my official first debut. And after that, I went back to the Dublin Castle, which is going to be the main story of this episode. So when I went to Dublin Castle, I made sure to show up early because I wanted a slot, right? And they say, 7 p.m., the sign-up starts. And just like all of you listening to this, I made a crucial mistake of showing up not early enough. As a Japanese person, I showed up like 30 minutes early. Little did I know, this place was already packed. This is like literally the most popular open mic in all London. But I lined up anyway. And I remember getting to the front of the queue and the guy in front of me was the last guy who got the slot. And the host told me, I'm sorry, we just ran out of space. If you stick around, please do. Somebody might cancel and then you can get a slot. But so I decided to stay, just to be friend with people and see what it was like. But it was like 11 p.m., 11:30 p.m. And but the host came up to me and he said, somebody bailed. Do you want to be on stage? And I said, absolutely. So this was my debut at Dublin Castle. 11 p.m. More than half people just went home. It was kind of, quiet. But I knew better. I have to give 100% either way. And I get up on stage and I gave them the fastest song I had. And boy, the crowd went crazy. I still haven't seen anything quite like it at the open mic. There's like a bunch of, kids in early 20s hanging around, and they kind of started moshing. I don't know. And it was like, and I finished the song, and they're like cheering. And the host run up to the stage, and I've never seen this since then at any open mic event. He just like look at me like with big eyes, and he's like telling me, Tsubasa, everybody loves you. Play the song again. Play the song. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna play the same song. I'm gonna give you another good one. And I played another one, and everybody was like cheering, applauding, and I was like, holy fuck! You have no idea. You have no idea what I felt. After the set, the host told me, Tsubasa, you're a star, you're a star. Please come back again. Please come play at the Dublin Castle. We're going to put a flyer and thank you for coming. And I was like, man, everybody listening to this, you have no idea what it's like. You have zero idea what it was like for me, who just came to London as nobody and played song that I wrote after a divorce, and I had no idea what to do with my life anymore. And I'm going through so many heartbreaks after that, and I had this health crisis, and I was like hitting the rock bottom and giving up. And somehow I finished these songs. I managed to record them, made an album. I was just trying to put all these weight and the pain somewhere, and it turned out to be music. But I was just trying to deal with this life and challenges and misery that I was bearing, that couldn't go anywhere otherwise. And this was all I was trying to do. I was desperate. And somehow I got this visa before I turned 31 and randomly ended up in London because I had nothing else to do in my life. Why not, try and have an adventure and see where it goes? It was all just accident. And one thing led to another. I'm standing at the stage of one of the most historical, legendary venues in the biggest music capital of the world, period, where Amy Winehouse performed frequently. And for me, as a person who I was back then, in that state of consciousness, to hear that I'm accepted and I belong and everybody loves me and I matter was indescribable verbally. I still get chills thinking about this moment. And this host, by the way, is no other than David from Ramcash. And I remember, and I'll never forget you, David, and what you've done to me. This night changed everything. And later on, I go back and I finally meet Andy. He's the regular host of the open mic. And this guy also supported me all the way. He eventually put me on the, the famous showcase. And then after that, a proper gig. And, I just went back over and over again. And everybody there is so supportive. And, again, no words. I don't know what else to say, honestly. This literally changed my life, and this is how everything started. And this is why I keep talking about Dublin Castle and open mic, is that so many great memories, everything happened in that pub. And this episode is this is just the tip of the iceberg regarding open mic stories, but Yeah, this was my roots. And the last thing, one thing I have tremendous amount of respect and gratitude towards Dublin Castle Open Mic is that they give everybody precisely and strictly the equal amount of time. If you're signing up there, you're going to get the exact time you're going to be on stage. You are on at 7:36. Make sure you're here and your guitar is already tuned. And nowadays, they don't fuck around. They have this timer for like 10 minutes. And some people find it too harsh. But like to me, it's simply just bare minimum professionalism. You go to other open mics, sometimes you run into hosts that are like, okay, you have 3 songs. And I'm like, what do you mean 3 songs? Because some musicians out there have like 12 minutes long song, which is nothing wrong with it. But these motherfuckers sometimes end up playing like 30-minute set, which obviously results in some other people who sign up later on not being able to play because of this one person. And of course the classic, hey guys, I'm a rock star, so I'm gonna get up on stage and tune right now in front of everybody. Let me just bam, 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 bam. Get the fuck out of here. You're wasting everybody's time. So this is one of the reasons why I keep going back to that open mic. Also, another shout out to Gareth. He's a photographer that shoots everybody on stage and he posts on Instagram. So for us, no-name musicians, to have our photos taken professionally in London is such a big deal. So for all these reasons, I think the Dublin Castle is doing tremendous amount of contribution to the local artists, supporting and giving us platform that we wouldn't have otherwise. So if you're lucky enough to live in London and get to play at that venue, have respect. And thank you again so much for Andy and David. You wait, I'll be back.